G'day YouTube, 13 minutes past 10. The trees all around him are dying as he rose on his feet there and said, Huey, inbound, overflying. There it is, from Armadale, all white, with a bucket underneath, headed for southeast Queensland, south central Queensland. Should come out from behind the tree just about now. There we go. Yep, towing an empty bucket. So, yeah, look at the dying of the leaves. Apparently there's a shallow crack. All the trees with their roots in the shallow crack are running out of water. And dropping all the dead trees within my perimeter may have been the $3,000 white man's rain dance that's achieved bugger all. Anyway, for today, let's go and have a look at a few consequences cascading from my decision to put a sprinkler on a tripod atop the shipping container to defend the tent and the shipping container full of household goods and chattels, as well as the flat pack kit shed house project. It means that I have committed one sprinkler to static defence, tied down, piped up, ready to go, but it can't be moved. And that means that it doesn't actually matter how many star pickets I've got at $12 each, as long as you buy a bundle of 10. Maybe you have to buy more than a bundle of 10. I know they're $17 each unless you buy more than 10, so I always buy at least 15. But it doesn't matter how many pre-positioned tripods you've got on the outside of the wet dome produced by the 25mm sprinkler on a 5-metre high tower. If you haven't got the ability to put a sled on the tripod, then that's basically $36 worth of wasted time. Therefore, thus and because, as the direct consequence of that, augmenting that, we have this. Oh, what a lovely box of sprinklers. What a lovely box of sprinklers I have got. Item number 101, sled 20. Quantity 2 pieces. Net weight 3.2 kilograms. Gross weight 4.2 kilograms. Cufitt 1.1. Now, this has my name on it. If we reversificate it, sent to Irrigation Warehouse Global Headquarters in Glen Innes from Brisbane, right? And the box also says Adelaide Post Office with a shipping permit, carton number, made in Taiwan. Code number 8. So I sort of deduce that somebody in Taiwan is manufacturing these things and shipping them to Adelaide. Or maybe someone in Taiwan is printing the boxes and shipping the boxes to Adelaide, and the people in Adelaide are sending the boxes full of sleds. Perhaps the sleds are made in Australia. And they're going to Brisbane and then they're coming here to me. But anyway, this is what we have inside. Pink tape. Yep, they always give you pink tape. They love the pink tape. I'm pretty fond of it too, it works. And then what we have is what they call a sled, which is about the size of a steering wheel, made in 2022 in January. And it doesn't say where it was made. Whoop, EH 3/4. Well, that's a comment on the diameter and the thread size. This price $128. Just say it quickly and get it over with. There's nothing else that'll do what these things will do. Want to do what that'll do? That's what you pay. And then underneath, ooh, look at all of that blubbly jubbly. Of course, the fittings did not come with the two sleds. Okay, so what we have is 25mm Storts end cap. I think they're about $24. 25mm Storts female fitting. We have a nylon or nyloplast or plastic nylon, whatever they call it, adapter. And then we have a 20mm irrigation sprinkler made in Spain, no less. There it says it, made in Spain. So these are a step up. Oh, look at that, isn't that lovely? Compared to the plastic Nylotron, the ones that I got up, or the one that I've got up there on top of the shipping container, these are bloody gorgeous. I like it. So, how much money? Well, I just asked how much he wanted me to give him. Yeah, I did hear him say they're $128 each list for the sleds. He gave me that handful in the box. I already had $94 store credit because I got 6 Storts fittings when I really only needed 4, and 2 of the ones that I got were extras that had the female thread instead of a male thread. So yeah, I had $94 store credit. And I paid $330 for that box of tricks. So that puts it at $330 plus 94 is $424 or $222 each by the time you get them put together. And then I can hear another Huey coming past. Then I get to cut short lengths of that stuff and put castellated ends on them so as to be able to tie the short ends of polypipe onto the circumference of the sled and then fit over the top of the tripod so I can then firmly connect the sled to any tripod. Second Huey should be visible soon. To think that anybody ever dreamed they were going to run around with mobs of blokes with guns and surprise anyone by landing in their backyard with one of them things. What a delusional belief. We'll just walk down to where we can get some clear air to see them. There it is, right out there on the horizon. Don't know whether it's going to print on this. It's a yellow Huey just going over the high point now. Full magnification. Probably about 6 miles west of here. Based on the bearing, he's headed for the exact same fire that the white Huey was. They're having a bad day up there. I think Australia's going to have a lot of bad days in the next 6 months. Yeah, as you can see by the water beacon, 18,000 litres in my neighbour's working tank, 22,000 litres in his spare tank, 5 horsepower transfer pump down there. As it was foretold within the prophecy, the solar panel recharged the battery. So about 10 o'clock yesterday morning I was able once again to use the starter motor to drive that thing up there, where I was able to crawl underneath it and find where the bloody 2 fuel filters are, and I got 2 new fuel filters ordered, so I expect to be able to crawl under there, replace the fuel filters, and behold, I will then once again have a vehicle that I can drive around on the bush block, sitting there within. What else? I did visit the metal fabricator, and the tower is progressing nicely, not quite ready to collect it, but sadly it was put together by the apprentice and he didn't understand the conversation I had with the bloke who was more or less instructing him. The way to do these things is you get your 3 uprights and you get your horizontals in, and then you start at one bottom corner, and you put a diagonal in, and then you start from the bottom to the top, and then you go around the corner and you go the next one and the next one, and you do a helical spiral, and then you go back to the start and you do it again. So you should wind up with 3 helical spirals linking 3 straight tapering cones, or 3 edges of a pyramid. Sadly, between the 3 verticals with the horizontals attached and me turning up, the apprentice had already welded up 2 bays with the diagonals fucking higgledy-piggledy wherever the hell they might have gone. That's where he put them. There's no system to it. It doesn't make a bee's dick worth a difference structurally, but it means I can't possibly go ahead with my theory of having a particularly spectacular helical rectilinear paint job in multiple colours, with the verticals 3 different colours and the spirals 3 different colours and the horizontals all a different colour again. Because it can't be done because the bloody apprentice didn't listen. For the purposes of firefighting, it's not going to matter at all, but for the purpose of aesthetic result, yeah, it's a pity he didn't fucking pay attention. However, ours is not the reason why. Ours is but to pay the money and be happy with the result, and the result's going to be that I will have 2 towers. As to the mystery of the exploding firefighting pump, it's been returned to the bloke who sold it to me on the 23rd of December last year, so it's in warranty period. The bloke there said he expects they'll probably just replace the front face of that pump. I don't know whether they've stamped the wrong number on the crankcase and they've put a 7 horsepower pump motor on a 5 horsepower pump, or whether they've just built a 5 horsepower pump with great big components that can't possibly cope with having the valve shut against it. When it comes back, I will put a pressure relief valve on it, and I will probably stick it over there with a pressure relief valve on it as a transfer pump, because it can shift 200 litres a minute as a transfer pump, but it can't cope with having a pressure spike, so that's what it's going to do. Because I now distrust Chinesium with a vengeance, even though the Lifan pump that's over there, I've had nothing but good things happen with it. It's going to come out, and a new pump, a 6.5 horsepower pump built up in Melbourne with a Japanesium motor, not a Chinesium motor. $1,200, not $620 or not $500. We're going to get an actual friggin' pump that one can rely on to do what it's supposed to do and not suddenly surprise you with a failure. The $1,200 pump's going to go over there. That is going to be sat exactly as it is with all its fixtures and fittings right beside it. So if shit turns to turds and the $1,200 pump goes wrong, I've got another fire pump that can just plug in, right? And then the little 5 horsepower Davy, it can go 500 bloody yards downhill, and it can be used to pump the dam up and put it in the 6,000 litre buoy wall. If everything else is going on, and I'm using that pump as hard as it bloody can to suck out of the 25,000 litres, after I've already put that buoy wall out 6,000 litres just to wet the place down. As soon as I start pumping through the 2 sprinklers with a suction hose going into the buoy wall, I think I'm going to run down there and start the little Davy, and the fill line from the Aquarius project pump, it can just keep working on filling that buoy wall. And yeah, if I wind up with that buoy wall being too full, well, golly gosh gee darn shucks, probably put a pressure relief valve on it so it can run out of fuel and just cycle the water back into the dam. So anyway, yeah, spending more money than I expected to spend, but when I stop talking to you buggers and get off my arse and put this together, then I will be able to have sprinkler there and sprinkler there ready to go. So all I then have to do is grab that safety hose from over there, which has now got Storts fittings on it, and bring the safety hose over here and connect it to a sprinkler, while the pump has been started. And when the pump's been started, it takes a little bit of time for it to warm up. So laying out the hose gives the pump time to start up, and then I can just connect that sprinkler to there between me, the wood on the ground, and the prevailing wind, while then setting up that sprinkler with the 12 metre hoses, and grab a 30 metre rather, and the 30 metre hose will run from the pump over to the 20 mil sprinkler up there. The 12 metre hose will run from the other 25 mil takeoff to here, and I can run 3 sprinklers simultaneously, and I can swap out those ones over there, move them around the pyramids. I'm going to pre-position all of those bloody star pickets around the outside edge. And when I need a nozzle for ember attack, I'll just stop sprinkling upwind and go to a nozzle. And for the beltness and the braciness of the whole system, yes, we have a spare nozzle on the safety hose. No, you have any idea how many fucking dire scenarios this paranoid old prick is trying to plan ahead for? Boy Scoutism, be prepared, do your best, give it a go, she'll be right. No worries, mate. It's only a fucking bushfire fuel bomb. Maybe we can convince it to go around us on the day when it does come, because it will eventually come. Alright, this is global warming. We made the fucking choice 40 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I was still burning 2,000 litres a year. I now burn 650 litres a year, and I'm spending all my money on adapting to global warming, anthropogenic global warming, which I helped cause. My fault. All I can say is I'm really glad that I didn't buy any insurance. I bought firefighting gear instead. Because I'll guarantee if I'd bought firefighting insurance, even if they wrote the policy and took me money after the fire had gone past, they'd look at me and say, "Oh, you lived in a stupid place. You dickhead. We're not going to pay you anything." And I wouldn't have any firefighting equipment. Instead of that, I've probably currently got about maybe $18,000 or $19,000 actually connected, and I'm aiming for 25. I'm aiming to have 25,000 bucks worth of fire plan in situ, ready to go. But I really do have to do something about picking up all this shit and taking it to the dump, because I don't want to have to waste water trying to put that out on the day with the wind blowing its sparks and embers towards me, as it's outside the wet dome. The wet dome barely covers the buoy walls because it's coming off there. 17 metres of wet dome, and the water comes out and it falls vertically on the ground out around about here. I'm going to have 2 interlocking wet domes between here and the other side of my daughter's tent, with sprinklers on outriggers that I can shift depending on what side I'm going to get attacked from, because the wind blows the wet domes downwind. So you have to compensate by putting upwind sprinklers. Oh. If it wasn't the sort of game where you fucking die getting fried when you lose and cock things up and get it wrong, it's very challenging, and it can be sort of fun when you come out the other side of it not dead. So yeah, Warbles on a lot to YouTube. I'm going to put some sprinklers together. Ciao.